Hey, it's Justin here from MyVeloFit. If you're looking to take your triathlon performance to the next level with an aero position on your bike, but don't want to shell out for the astronomical prices of tri bikes these days, we're going to talk through the super important adjustments that you need to make to outfit your road bike with aero bars and to get it set up so you can perform at your best. Let's go.
Welcome to MyVeloFit, the world's first online AI-powered bike fit. Built by bike fitters for all riders.
Whether this is going to be your first triathlon or you're just looking to up your performance, one of the biggest gains you can make on the bike is actually improving your position. While a dedicated tri bike would be great, they aren't exactly attainable these days, with most of them, the prices starting around $4,000 or $5,000. There's a lot of benefits you can make actually by making your position on a road bike more aerodynamic using a set of clip-on aero bars. You may be wondering, why can't I just throw a set of clip-on aero bars onto my road bike, hop on and go for a ride? And what you might notice, and maybe you've already done this and that's why you're here, the first is that when you bend over and put yourself in the aero position, it's gonna close off your hips pretty significantly. And when you go to pedal, you're probably gonna feel like your knees are way up in your chest. And this is just because your hips are too far back now that you're so much more bent over in the aero position. The second thing to consider is that you're probably gonna be too bent over even in the aero position and reaching far to the aero bars, which may put a lot of strain through your shoulders and neck. And overall, it's just gonna feel like a very weird position. One of the elements of a triathlon bike that often goes unnoticed is that their geometry is actually quite different, notably a steeper seat tube angle, which puts the whole rider in a different position. What we're gonna go over today are some of the adjustments you need to make to your road bike to mimic that triathlon bike position so you can be in a sustainable, powerful position for as much of the race as possible. All right, so the first thing you need to dial in your triathlon fit is a great road bike fit. So if you haven't done that already, you can check out our video here on how to get that done. And that's gonna be a great foundation for moving forward to your aero position. After you've got that done, like any bike fit, the saddle position is the foundation of your fit, and that's no different here with your aero position. The main difference you'll find between your road bike position and your aero position is that the saddle needs to be quite a bit further forward. And this is not just a little bit, you're probably gonna wanna start with 2, 3, maybe even 4 centimeters of forward adjustment, which can be tricky on a lot of seat posts. But this more forward position is gonna help you kind of rotate your whole body around the bottom bracket to get you forward and leaning over top of your aero bars. If you find that you can't get your saddle position far enough forward, many riders have a second seat post that they use with another saddle, and typically we'd call it a zero offset seat post. So it's gonna be straight up and down versus a lot of road bikes are gonna come with a setback seat post that have somewhere between 5 and 25 millimeters of offset. And this is gonna help you shift that saddle further forward. Once you've got your saddle further forward, you gotta remember that because saddle foreaft and height are interrelated, you're gonna need to raise your saddle height again as well. Generally, we use a rule of 3 to 1. So for every 3 millimeters you move your saddle forward, you're gonna need to raise it 1 millimeter to compensate so that once you've got it in that more forward position, you've adapted it to end up at the same saddle height that you had before. Now that you've got your saddle position fixed, we'll move back to the front end of the bike with the aero bars. Ideally, you're gonna wanna raise your stem, or specifically the aero bars. And depending on which clip-ons you have, you may be able to do this with spacers, or actually raising your stem, raising your whole cockpit is gonna be the best way to do this, and just moving some spacers under your stem. This is both gonna raise it, but also bring it back a little bit, obviously, because your steer tube is at an angle. As you bring it up, it's actually gonna bring it a little bit closer, which is gonna help with that extended reach you may feel. And this is just because, generally speaking, the bar height in a road position is gonna be a little bit too low, and when you put clip-ons on, the arm pads are just gonna be too low, you'll be in too aggressive position. So let's head over to the bike and we'll see what that looks like. All right, so this is my position. If I just hop into the aero bars without adjusting anything from my road position, my arms feel really stretched out in front of me. And most noticeably, my pedaling is super impacted. My knees feel really up in my chest and my hips close kind of all the way. You can really feel it kind of as rocking in the hips. So this is not a position I could probably ride in for more than, two minutes. I would not be here for very long. We're really lucky on this bike. We've got the Redshift dual position seat post, which is gonna kind of take care of all of the saddle adjustments we need. So I'm just gonna pop this forward, and that's gonna move the saddle forward 5 centimeters, I believe. And it's also gonna compensate with a little bit of a height increase. So this This should actually be the same effective saddle height as I had before, just 5 centimeters forward, which is going to be everything I need. If you're doing this a lot, you're moving back and forth between a road and tri position, this can be a really handy piece of tech. Moving on to the front of the bike, I'm just going to raise my handlebars by 10 mil, which should be enough for me. So there we go. It's nice and easy on this trainer bike, but it's equally pretty easy on most road bikes to just throw another 10 millimeter spacer underneath. So let's hop on and see how it feels. All right, so with the saddle forward and up, I definitely feel like my hips are a lot less closed. My knees are a lot further from my chest. I can feel my shoulders are a little further over my elbows, which feels a little more solid in the front end. And overall, I just feel way more comfortable in this position and could definitely ride here for a lot longer. To wrap things up, adding clip-on aero bars to your road bike can be one of the best performance enhancers for the bike leg of your triathlon, but you need to make sure you get the rest of the position right as well. So make sure you adjust that saddle forward and up, and also bring those arm pads up and a little closer to really dial in your fit. If you found this content helpful, make sure you like and subscribe. You can follow us everywhere else on socials at MyVeloFit. And until next time, thanks for watching.